I already hit start, and did you hear anything? Oh, that's good. We're already streaming. Huh? Oh no. Oh, perfect. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just let me check something. Do you hear it here? Do you hear an echo here?
No, no, it sounds good.
Or in this other scene? Do you hear it here?
Nope.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, so we're good. We'll start in just 1 minute. Let me see if anyone else has arrived. It says. Um, cool. So I think we should get started now. Here we go.
Okay.
Oops. Welcome to Talking Maps, the show where we talk about fantastic maps. I'm your host, Maps, and today we have with us the one and only Fadedsun. Welcome.
Hello.
How?
Nice to be here.
Yeah, great, great. It's great to have you. So many people were hyped, and we have a lot of burning questions for you. So, what do you say we start with you telling us a little bit about yourself as a map maker? Do you remember how you got into map making?
I do remember. So my background is actually from the web-based game Advanced Wars by Web. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that game or not.
I love that game. I used to play it a lot. I was terrible. My MMR was never higher than 900, I think, but I loved it.
I reached a pretty decent level there, but then I kind of tapered off. My skill level just tapered off, and I wasn't able to really advance anymore. But by that time, Wargroove was coming out,
Mhm.
and I had no intentions originally to make maps. My intentions were just to play competitively.
Ooh, cool. Uh-huh.
Um, but as I was playing, I ran into Exmo, who was
Mhm.
also from Advanced Wars by Web, and I knew he was into making maps. And I remember having some interactions with him on Advanced Wars by Web about maps, talking about maps, and it was always really interesting to me. And after some competitive play in Wargroove, I decided I wanted to try my own hand at making maps. I thought it'd be fun.
So it's
And
Ekmo's
it,
fault. You're
yeah, yeah, kind of.
a map maker.
Um, and it turned out that I kind of had a knack for it. And so I
You
just
got
kept
more
doing
than a
it.
knack for it, man. You're one of the best and most prolific too. That's very cool. That well, you came from Advanced Wars by Web, and but my question is, did you make any maps for Advanced Wars by Web before making them for Wargroove?
No,
Or
never. I never tried to make any maps for Advance Wars. Only for Wargroove.
that's so cool. Why only for Wargroove?
I don't know. I think because that was the game I ended up getting into after I stopped playing Advance Wars by Web, and so like all of my focus just went towards Wargroove, and eventually I just stopped playing Advance Wars by Web altogether.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. Some people still play both games, I think. But yeah, we tend to lean more towards one or the other. I find it very interesting that you. Uh,
Yeah, and it was also just because, trying to juggle playing Wargroove competitively, and at the same time I was also doing the map making. So I was dipping my hands into both of those things. I was making the maps, and then I was also joining all of the competitive play at the same time. So it was a lot of work on both ends.
yeah, and you're also an admin for the Discord and for many of the tournaments. You have been an admin as well, right?
Yes, that's correct. So eventually all of my competitive play started to fall by the wayside, and then I was pretty much only making maps and doing more of the admin type stuff.
That sounds cool. So your original plan was to be a competitive player, and then you drifted towards map making.
Yes, that's right.
All right. And what is it that caught your attention towards map making instead of becoming, or instead of like pursuing that career? I suppose as a competitive gamer.
I think it was the freedom and creativity of it all. I always had a lot of fun making maps and spending all that time in the editor, just trying to flex my creative muscle and coming up with new ideas and trying to express myself in that sort of way.
I love that. Yeah, it's a really cool way to express yourself. You can tell a story. You can like show people ways to play they haven't thought about before. And
Yeah.
in your opinion, what is the most fun about making maps? The most fun part?
I think the most fun is once you're done with the map, using the available decorations to, like you said, tell a story with the map. I think that's a lot of the fun of making the map is like, okay, so now you have this map, and now let me tell like a story with the map.
Tell
I
a story
think
with
that's
the
a lot
map.
of fun.
How do you tell a story with decos?
Um, how could I explain? I'm trying to like think of a map that has like a very clear title and like decorations to match. Um, like I'm sure everyone's familiar with the map maker Wargarbly. He's very
Absolutely.
good with his decorations,
Oh
and I
yeah.
feel like his map and his titles tend to always match with his decorations, and his maps tend to tell like this story along with the decorations. Like this is the style of map that you're fighting on, and then from there your mind can sort of take over. It's like, okay, this is the type of battleground that I'm fighting on now.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think Wargably's maps are some of the best looking. Um, he uploaded one that was like naval combat, at least on the sides, and I think in the middle, and it looks so pretty. So yeah, you can tell a story. You can make it look beautiful, and that's another way to differentiate yourself from other map makers. How do you use decos personally? I was telling Skyro the other day. I just like throw them around to see what looks good and keep it and erase the other ones. But how do you go about it?
I'm pretty liberal with my decorations. I don't use too many. I try to make them not too obvious. I'll kind of like try to hide them into the map. I don't want people to be distracted by them, but I also want them to add something to the experience, to the visual experience of you playing the map.
Yeah, I think the visual experience is very important to make the game more engaging.
Yes, yes.
Because I at the beginning I when I started making maps I said no decos are like the least important thing. I'm not the first maps I made I didn't even put decorations on, but no, it makes a big difference. It changes your mood. It changes the way you see the
Yeah.
map, you play it.
Yeah, absolutely. I tend not to add decorations into my maps until the map feels like it's in its final form.
Hmm.
Because I'm sure you're familiar with the map making process. You have all these iterations of maps. You have people testing the map. They tend to come back to you and say, "Oh, this needs to be changed. This needs to be changed." And if you're adding decorations into your map, it can get a little frustrating when you're continually updating your map and you're like removing and adding the decorations again every single time. So I tend to just wait and then I add it all at the very end.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that, and I've had to do that to like remove decorations I really like or put them somewhere else.
Yeah.
Um, Next question: what is the most faded sun feature a map can have?
The most faded sun feature a map can have. Oh man.
I think people on stream will know. So if you have any ideas on that, if you have any questions as well, this is the time. What do you think was
Um,
the most faded sun feature thing?
I mean, obviously, other players will be able to answer this better than I can because I don't have the self-awareness of my my habits and my cliches and whatnot.
Uh huh.
Um, I don't know, but if I had to say like makes a map my type of map, I feel like I tend to make like very standard style maps that tend to play quite well. Like I do have some experimental type maps, but I think what people will know me for is just like standard solid maps. That's tend to what I go for.
That's a good way, I think, to summarize it. This evade says no air hate. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't have the Exmo air hate. I like to let the units fly.
Yeah, that's really good because I don't really like when we have to limit units or we have to ban units. Of course, it's necessary sometimes, but I feel the game is incomplete. Like there's parts of the puzzle missing if you have to ban or limit units.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. There were always some instances where I would feel bad banning a unit, and there would be times where I'd try to find a way to make the unit work in lieu of banning it. So I just would feel bad banning a unit. I was like, instead of trying to ban this unit, I'm gonna try to make it work. But if I can't make it work, then okay, I will ban it.
Yeah, banning should be the last.
And sometimes it just comes down to the way that the dev team balanced the unit. Like sometimes there's nothing map making can do to make the unit feel better.
There's nothing map making can do to make the unit feel better. For example, if it's too OP or.
Yeah, exactly. Like sometimes you can map around a unit to make it not feel as strong. Like there are things you can do with terrain to make the unit not feel as oppressive.
Yeah.
Like for example, the air hate that we were talking about. Like using flagstone to rein in air units to not make them feel as strong.
Yeah, flagstone is a very good example. I always try to include a little bit of flagstone on my maps to do that, and also to give Wolfar and the COs that have like Lytra, like moving, groups that move units around, to give them a chance to one-shot a powerful air unit. I think that's fun. What do you think about that aspect of map making, like balancing not only units but commanders or groups using map features?
Yeah, that's another thing that goes into the map making as well, is using the terrain and whatever is available to you to try and balance out those commanders as well, and their grooves.
Master has a really cool comment here. Faded maps are standard maps, yeah. His distinguishing characteristic is a lack of distinguishing characteristics. I think that's the best compliment Meister could give any map. What do you think about it?
I think that's fair. I don't take any offense by that.
No, I really think
huh? Like it to some people it might sound like it's a bad thing, but I don't consider that a bad thing.
No, I think it's a great thing for standard play and for meta development. If you don't have anything quirky or weird going on in the map, units, commanders, plays, or tech can shine better, don't you think?
Right, yeah.
Alright, so now we're going to dive deep into Headland. Well, let me check if there's any other comments or questions we have from the chat. I love this version of Headland. That's a throwback. Standard, good for Maestro, so yeah, take it as a compliment, said Skyra. Alright, so now we're going to talk about Headland itself. So, Fadedsun, how would you describe Headland in 10 seconds? Help the cow chat. I'm just kidding. Go.
Oh, man. How would I describe Headland? I mean, based on what we said earlier, it's just a standard strong map. There's nothing crazy going on here. You know, there's two barracks, there's a tower, there's a hideout. There's nothing crazy going on here.
Yep.
It's like you have your diagonal fronts, and it just plays well.
Yeah, it plays really well. It's one of the most, if not the most popular map that we currently have. What do you think made it so interesting, so easy to play with, if it's so standard, as you say?
Um, I think it's just the way that the fronts end up developing and where fights can take place. You can have fights that are taking place in the center. You can have fights that are taking place down in the bottom corners. Um, you have fights happening near the HQ. You can just have like all these little fights happening and just like the smaller sections of the map that I think people enjoy.
I think that's a really cool characteristic of this map, and personally, that's something I want to try. I'm not very successful at it yet, but something I want to implement on my own maps, like having those not only the main lanes or fronts, but also small skirmishes that could take place around it, around some properties or even towers. I've seen many games, especially early ones, where players flip the tower really easily.
Yeah. And I think another thing about this map is that there are quite a few contestable villages owing to the design of the front. So that's why all those little fights can happen everywhere, because there are so many different contestable villages across the map.
Mm-hmm. What do you think makes a good contestable property?
A good contestable property would be one that obviously both players can get to and fight over evenly. It's not like the village isn't placed so far into either player's territory. It's placed firmly in a spot where both players can fight over it and flip it pretty evenly.
Yeah, I'm asking because that's one of the most difficult things to balance in my experience. Of course, my experience is very limited compared to yours and compared to most people. But yeah, I when I put something like that, a property I think is going to be contested in the map, it's usually too easily flipped, or it's too valuable, or too difficult to hold. So I don't know how to balance that yet.
It can be a difficult thing. I don't know how to describe it in a very easy way, because I mean I'm still learning. Even though I've made a lot of maps over the years, there's still plenty of things that I'm learning as I make more and more maps.
Cool. Meister has a little very cool comment here. I dislike it when you have to fight the map in addition to your opponent.
Yeah, that's also a good point. Like learning how to play the map at the same time, learning how to play against your opponent.
And I think that connects very well to the next one. Faded maps do pretty good front shapes and no weird bullshit. So, what do you think that means? Like,
I think that's going back to the fact that I just make these kind of standard solid playing maps versus trying to experiment and doing more atypical things. I'm sure people might be familiar with the map maker Mori. He's from Advanced Wars by Web, but he did make some map for Wargroove, and he's known as a more experimental map maker, where he'll just try these really crazy ideas, and sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. But I feel like in my case, I don't tend to deviate so much from what I know I'm good at. I do sometimes, but for the most part, I tend to stick to what I'm good at, and I'll do it well.
Mm-hmm. They feel, yeah, your maps in general I think feel very polished. One of my favorites is Maximum Carnage.
Ah, yeah, that's a fun map.
That's so fun, and it's mixed base and it's chaotic all around, but it still feels good. It doesn't feel like too crazy, I suppose. So I think that's one of the most Fadedsun characteristics.
We played that map a lot during the beta testing for Wargroove 2, and it ended up being the map that we played the most because it just had so much variety and so much going on that we could just use it to test like practically everything that was going on in the beta. It's like, okay, we had this one map and like everything's on it, so we could use this map to test like everything.
Yeah, that's a really cool map. I love it. Maybe we can talk about like have a special episode for that one some other time. And now let's focus a little bit more on Headland. Do you remember what you wanted to go for when you were making this map?
I don't know if I can remember what I wanted to go for. But I can tell you that this map was um, I took its inspiration from this map from an Advanced Wars by Web map.
Hmm.
I tend to go into the Advanced Words by Web database if I'm just not having any good ideas,
Hmm.
and I'll just look through maps and just to get inspiration. And I remember taking a map from the former admin of Advanced Words by Web. His name was Walker,
Hmm.
and I found a Walker map, and I was like, "Hey, this looks really cool. I like the shape of this map. I like what's going on here." So I just started using that as a template, and then just built my own idea from there.
That's really cool because
So
yeah, go ahead.
So this original map, the OG Headland, looks a lot like the original Walker map, but then of course over iteration after iteration, just stopped looking more and more like the Walker map, and just became just its own original thing over time.
Yeah,
But the OG map looks a lot like the original Advanced Wars by Web map.
that is so cool. I love doing that too. Taking inspiration from other games or things you like, and bring them to, well, in this case, Wargroove. Um, what is your take on, or your position on that, on taking ideas from Advanced Wars by Web or other games and implementing them on Wargroove? I know it's kind of, or it used to be controversial at least.
Mm. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You can't do it one to one. It's just not going to work. So you have to take the idea and then bring it into Wargroove and Wargroovify it, make it
Hmm.
work for Wargroove. So it's not as easy as it sounds. You can't just like one to one plug a map and just expect it to work because it's just not going to.
Yeah, exactly. Walking distances are different, terrain's different.
Yeah,
They,
everything's different.
yeah, they kind of look similar, I suppose, but no, they're not the same game. Let's take a look at some of the comments. Barrett says, I love Mori maps when they work out. Disobeyed says, I'm still the one who broke it. I think Disobeyed is talking about Maximum Carnage. And Barrett says, so yeah, there was a period of like 2 weeks where we only played Max Carnage.
Yeah.
I wish I was around. I had been around by that time because I love Maximum Carnage. So, now let's focus a little bit on the changes, the updates. This is the OG Headland.
Yep.
Let's compare it to the next one. Just a second. This is OG and this is 1.1. Could you walk us a little bit like through what happened, how it changed, why it changed?
Yeah. So obviously, when you're going through iterations of maps and people are testing them, they're going to be telling you things, and you might just be changing things based on what people are telling you. They may not be right or wrong, but as a map maker, you're going to listen to them because they're the competitive players tend to be better players than you are. So if they're experiencing something that they feel is not good, you might want to, at least test it and see if the change that they're suggesting is going to work out.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see in this case that I moved the tower over and moved it all the way to the back. I mean, I can't remember why I did that or not, but I'm sure someone suggested it, and I was like, sure, why not? Let's just try this. But it obviously didn't end up. It didn't end up working out because you could see immediately when I go to 1.3, the tower's back to where it used to be.
And I think that's a great choice. That's one of my favorite parts about Headland, that you can flip the towers. Why did you go back to the towers being there?
I think overall, people just felt that it worked better there. Having to cap the tower over there and just the air units coming out from that end and being able to head towards the HQ, I think they just liked that more versus having the tower in the back and having their air units being more as a defensive unit behind their HQ and having them take longer to get to the front.
Absolutely. It also makes the fronts more dynamic, I suppose, because you have a tower on each side, but you will need to invest resources on each side. And that makes it, I think, more interesting because you have to decide on, like, do I want to be more defensive? Do I want to be more
Right.
offensive? And then nothing else. Did anything else change from 1.1 to 1.3? Oh, some terrain, right?
I added in two towers at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, here.
Oh, that's
Here there's
1.3.
two towers. Yeah, so there's two towers now, and probably trying to counter that other tower in the back. It's like, okay, if we're gonna have a tower there, let's put one down here. 'Cause now these air units can come out and fight each other on pretty even ground. But I don't think that ended up working out because I'm pretty sure I'd take that out and end up just making it one tower in the end.
Yeah, what do you think about that? About having more than one tower per map? Do you think that would be a good idea or worth experimenting with, or not really?
I think that's worth experimenting with for sure. Maybe not on this map. It didn't end up working out. But I think on more bigger maps, 2 towers can totally work out.
Let's take a look at the comments. We got some good ones. Barrett says, "Bring back OG Headland." Oh no, forward tower is gone on 1.1. Yeah, that's Skyro said that. That's a really cool feature, I think. 2 towers per side. It's Skyro said, could be cool to have a legacy version of Headland. Yeah,
I can bring it back.
I think Skyro's your biggest Headland fan. He's saying, let's have a TYM pool made of 4 Headland versions. I wouldn't mind.
That would be wild. That would be wild.
And we have them. I think we have so many different versions that it wouldn't
There's
feel...
1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5 versions here? Or no, there's way more than that. I didn't see all the other ones.
Your versions plus the new the remix versions. But we'll go take a look at those in a few minutes. Before that, I wanted to ask you about the center of the map. That's also something that has not really
I'm sure that changed. Yeah, I'm sure that changed over time as well. And eventually I added the didn't I add a koi pond eventually?
Yeah,
I think I did.
Yeah, that's a 1.8 version.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know if this is Skyro's or if it's yours. And Skyro just did like a port.
I think that's a port. Because those are definitely my decorations.
Ah, cool. So, how do you make the center interesting? That's probably the thing I'm struggling with the most now that I'm learning map making. How do you make it interesting, balanced, fun? This is a great example, I think.
It's a tough question. So go back to the OG. I want to look at the center of the OG map. What did I have going on here? Okay, so it's just the forest and the mountain in the center. Probably on the OG map, I'm pretty sure I was just following along with the Advanced Wars by Web inspiration that I mentioned before. So I might have just copied the terrain there originally. Go down to 1.1.
1.1. The center is the same.
When did
but you have a few more. No, it's exactly the same, right? Yeah.
When did I start to change the center?
1.3. You changed the roads, the HQ position, and the terrain. No, the terrain's the same. Well, I think maybe if we go to 1.4 is the first big change, right?
Yeah. Okay, so that's when I started to mess around with the center. But that might have felt a bit too defensive right there with that setup. You know, the two mountains in there. Yeah, just like too strong defensively. Like once one player had that, they could probably just kind of hold it for a while. Especially if they just got like 2 strong units on the mountains. And back then, golems could be on mountains, I think.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, that was.
So you just like park a golem there, and you're probably good.
So this was too defensive, you think? Like too staley?
Probably, but it's hard to say. I can't remember what was going on back then in terms of gameplay. But just looking at it, I just feel like that's probably what happened.
And then we have the other big change. You added some rivers on 1.5.
Yes.
How did that change the center?
So I think that's like going back to what I said, like the center being too defensive. So I was like, okay, I'm going to add some rivers now, and that way there's more of a chance for you to, if there's too much defense going on there, now you have these weaker defense tiles, and there has to be more thought there where you're placing your units. Because if you're just putting your unit on a river, it's gonna die really easily.
Yeah, it's gonna go down. And why did you decide to keep the forest? Was it like also like an Advance Wars?
So,
like
so
ribbon?
this is like putting the forest there is like kind of a, how would I describe it? Like a defensive attack sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So like if there's a unit on the river, then you just go and put your unit on the on the forest and then attack. You have a defensive advantage, and then the other player doesn't.
We have
And
+3 to -1, isn't it?
yeah,
No,
and you can also use that.
-2. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that forest is that the diagonal forest from the village can also be used to attack and break up any formations protecting the village. So
That makes
that's
sense.
another reason like I'll put a forest diagonally away from a village. Because like if there's a unit there that captured it like on the plains tile, then you can have a unit come in and park themselves on the forest to attack there and also take less damage at the same time.
That's a very cool tip. I'm gonna steal it and use it on my own maps. Thank you very much. Let's see what the chat have to say. TYM pool. Hey, Sechun is here. Welcome, Sechun. Scarrow says that's his sport. So this is Wargroove 2, the last one, the 1.8 version. This is the Scarrow sport. And what else do we have here? Skyro's asking, is 1.5 the first version that was featured on a tournament?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I honestly don't know which version featured first in any sort of TYM or tournament. I'm not really sure. I'd have to go back to the archives. I don't know if Barrett remembers or not. I'm not really.
Well,
I don't know.
Barrett said I love 1.5, and Barrett says he thinks it was in a TYM. So,
Okay.
We don't know about that. And so Master says he never got to play a pre-Koya Pond Headland.
Oh, I should bring back some old versions for people to play on.
That'd be really cool. Yeah, to have like an archive or I was talking to Skyro the other day and I said it would be really cool to have like the how to call it, like the legacy versions of different maps.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, like in a different, not in the pool because it's gonna be confusing, but like in a different pool, special pool or a thread or something like that. It would be really cool to have them there.
Since we have the archive of the old server, like that's where I found all those old versions of Headland. I was like, I just dipped into the archive. I'm like, let's see what I can find. So we should be able to do that for plenty of maps.
That'd be really cool. And they're asking if this is 1.5. Yes, this is 1.5. I should have labeled them. I didn't think about it, but yeah, this is 1.5. And whenever I like change the pick, I'm gonna tell you, oh, this is 1.4, this is 1.5. So we're on 1.5 now. Is there? I wanted to ask you about HQ positioning. Yeah. Between 1.4 and 1.5, you moved it back one tile, but you removed like all the protective terrain around it. Why did you make it so?
Go to the previous version,
Yeah.
so I can compare
1.4.
again. Okay, so yeah, there's the defensive, and then I pushed it back. Is that what I did?
And you removed the mountain and the forest.
Okay. I'm gonna assume that people felt in the position before. I'm just gonna assume that people felt it was too forward.
Mm-hmm.
And so I then, I pushed it back, and then I got rid of the defensive terrain because if I'm gonna push it back, it probably doesn't need all that extra defense anymore, and then you can just use units to defend your HQ instead of because I had a mountain behind it as well,
Mm-hmm.
and I think people might have felt it was too hard to get into the HQ at that point, because again, you can just park a golem there, put it on the mountain, and then you're just having a hard time trying to clear space to attack the HQ.
Absolutely. I think exposed HQs within reasonable limits are a very cool feature to have. My favorite part about Wargroove are lethals and HQ lethals as well. I think it makes the game much more dynamic than Advanced Wars by Web. In that game, you win by capturing, by overwhelming.
Yeah, by capturing the HQ.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Which was basically never happened. I don't ever having an Advanced Wars by Web match where someone captured my HQ because it was near impossible.
Unless they were playing Sammy and you were half asleep playing against
yes,
them.
Yes, yes. So that just wasn't happening in Advanced Wars. You were winning by just overwhelming your opponent and getting them to forfeit. That's what was happening.
And that's still very fun, but I think Wargroove opened up like those two other options. Like you either kill HQ, you overwhelm the opponent, or you kill the commander.
Yeah, how do you have those three different.
How do you think that shaped map making? Like talking about the differences between map making for Advanced Wars and Wargroove.
Yeah, so now in Wargroove you have a literally walking win con. So you have to protect it at all times. That's your king unit, and it's not just sitting back and hanging out. It's getting into the fray. It's fighting. It's your most powerful unit, so you want to use it. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you have to protect it. Now, how did this influence map making? I don't know if I would say that influenced how I made the map in general, the walking win con. But it is something gameplay wise that you have to be aware of while you're playing. So you're not just gonna want to shove your commander, in the front of everything because it's just gonna die. So you have to be really careful with that unit and how you use it. But how you design a map, considering the commander, you can like put more defensive tiles for your commander to hang out on. If it gets into trouble, you send it back, put it on a defensive tile, heal it up at a village, for example. I guess that's one way you could map around your commanders. Where am I going to place a village for my commander to head back and heal on?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
or any of my other units.
What? Yeah, sorry.
Or any of your other units, because it's not just your commander that's healing; it's any of your units.
No, yeah, but absolutely, healing commander is so cheap compared to other units, and so powerful that might be a good thing to think about when deciding maps. If you want to give commanders like a ton of properties to heal from, or if you want to make it more difficult from them to heal like a different parts of the map, I suppose.
Right, and the HQ as well is an interesting win con because it can be broken and destroyed. So that influences where you want to place it. If you place it too far back, it no longer becomes a win con because you can't get to it anymore. Mm-hmm. So it needs to be carefully placed in a spot where your opponent can get to it and potentially use it as a way to win.
And Barry was saying something about this version. I think it was too easy to line up stronghold lethals. He might be referring to the previous version. So we have 1.4 where you had this, and in 1.1, this is 1.1. Yeah, it was very open and it was next to 3.
It was very close to the center. You can also see I didn't have much thought with those road placements. Mm-hmm. Dragons are very strong. If you had any unit at all near your HQ, it was just dying immediately from a dragon.
Especially Wargroove 1 dragons.
Yeah.
So I think it's a very cool way to see the evolution of the HQ positioning here. Here it's way too open. Now it's way too protected. A little bit less protected, I suppose. And this is again open, but in a more interesting way.
You can see the balancing act that I'm talking about. It's like happening in real time. It's like okay, too far, too like where's the perfect spot?
It's the Goldilocks spot.
Yeah, exactly. It's not as easy as it sounds about where to place your HQ.
Yeah, it's not as easy, and I've noticed that it's also meta dependent. So it might be balanced to put it there. If people are playing in a certain way, if people are picking certain commanders, and if the meta changes, it might be broken again. That's very interesting about map making. Have you had an experience like that with your own maps?
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, that's why Headland had so many versions.
People breaking it.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I have another question. I like this one. This one is about your personal story with this map. What comes to mind when you play this map, or when you see this map? What is the feeling or the thing that comes to mind?
Um, so when I design a map, obviously I come up with a name for it. This is Headland to Deadland.
Hmm.
Um, when I finish a map and I'm trying to come up with a name, I use the decorations first as a way to name the map, and then from there I might use some sort of reference to something that I like, or something in my life. So Headland to Deadland is the name of a song that I came across a long time ago on a forum, and it's not even a popular song. It's a song some random guy played in a club somewhere, and I'm sure he never recorded it
Oh no.
officially. He
Uh-huh.
just played it in a club. He called it Headland to Deadland, and I just remember enjoying that song as just like an acoustic guitar song and him singing along to it. I was like, that's a cool name. And so that's why I ended up naming my map, because I thought it was a cool map name, you know? It's like you're heading in to die. You're gonna die.
Oh yeah, and
It's
the
the
headline
Headland
here.
to Deadland.
That's very cool, and I didn't know that. That's a really cool story for the map, and yeah, it goes back to what we were saying a few minutes ago, that you tell a story with the map. You're telling a story with the title of the name of the map,
Yeah,
uh,
exactly.
and
And like you could even see I'm like pretty literal with the decorations. Like I literally have a signpost pointing towards the center with a skull with a skull right under it.
that's really cool. I love placing skulls everywhere. In my mixed base maps, I put skulls where the contested barracks will be, so they know they are going. They're never coming back. Those poor soldiers.
So yeah, like when I think of Headland to Deadland, you know, I think of that time when I was like trying to come up with the name and placing the decorations to it, and just like in my mind, it's sort of like this kind of autumn, kind of like spooky style map, you
Hmm.
know?
Well, it doesn't come across as spooky to me, but well, after listening to the story, I suppose it's like, yeah, marching to die in the front. And I saw a comment here. Mm, that's an interesting backstory to the name. And I wanted to ask you, you mentioned that you name your maps after you make them?
Typically, yes. Or you know, sometimes I might have a name already in my mind for something, and I'll use that name to then make a map.
Hmm.
But the order is not always set. Like sometimes I might just be outside somewhere and I just get inspiration from a name and be like, you know what, that'd be a cool map.
Yeah, in my case, it's the exact opposite. I have like a name or an idea I want to try, and then I make the map and just like slap the name on it. So I thought it was
Yeah,
very
you get.
interesting that you first made, if you first made the map and then you came up with the name.
In this case, it wasn't. In this case, I made the map and then I sat there trying to think of the name.
And you remember the cool song from. Is there any way to listen to the song now? Now I'm interested in that.
I might be able to find it. I did have it saved to my YouTube channel for a long time, but of course that is dependent on the uploader still keeping that video alive.
Oh,
I'll check it out, and if I can find it, I'll send it to you.
that'd be great. Yeah, I would love to listen to that. And what is maybe this is something you already answered, but what's your favorite memory connected to this map?
My favorite memory connected to this map. It would probably be just all the time I spent, you know, going through the iterations of it, all the different versions, all the time I spent testing it with, you know, with the map testing crew. Um, yeah, I would probably say all that, you know, all the TYMs it was in, playing it in tournaments, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, personally, my the things I remember the most is when people break my maps, or when people find ways to like play them up in a way I didn't intend at all. That's something
Yeah,
like one of my favorite parts about it. Did you ever have an experience like that where you said like, "Oh my god, I never thought about doing
yeah.
that"?
I, there's always cases like that for me because I'm not like the best Wargroove player. I'm
Hmm.
pretty solid, but there are definitely better competitive players than me, and I'm pretty sure Sequoia or somebody came up with something on this map that was just blew my mind. Like, I had no idea you could even do that.
Yeah, Koyatek is something else.
Yeah.
All right,
and Sequoia is known for his more unorthodox openings, so he can usually find something that you just couldn't find yourself, or maybe someone else didn't find because they just weren't thinking of doing something like that.
Absolutely. Talking about Sequoia, he sent 2 really cool questions. When we
all right,
take a look at the first one. How do you feel about the Headland variant meme?
What's the Headland meme?
What's the Headland meme, chat? I think he's talking about like having different versions of the map. I have a couple here. Like, for example, this one was made by Section Headland to Poland, Headland to Deadland remix. Huh?
I do remember Headland to Poland, that Sechun main. I do remember that one.
Let's talk about it. Uh-huh. What do you remember about it?
I think this came out pretty soon after Wargroove 2 came out, because we had the frogs. We had the frog unit now.
Uh-huh.
And so I think Sechun wanted to add the port into the map, because, the map already has rivers on it.
Mm-hmm.
So, why not add a port and add frogs to it? Why not? I don't know how this ended up working out in terms of gameplay. It might have been too strong.
Frogs?
I don't see.
Huh?
I don't see any current versions of the map that have a port that like people are playing on.
No, but I don't remember seeing that many frogs on Headland to Poland. But yeah, that'll be...
See, when you have the port all the way in the back, it'll take a while for those frogs to get to the front. So you probably have to set up something where like you bring in a balloon, then you balloon the frog into the front.
Can you balloon frogs?
I'm assuming you can?
I don't know, because I don't remember if you can also wagon them. I think that's the main problem of the frog right now, that mobility is very limited. It would be very cool to see balloon frogs.
Yeah.
Let's see what the chat has to say about this. Oh, I think Meister and Oli found it. Sorry, I had to remove links because of the bots that kept popping in. So sorry. I'll see a way to fix that better, because I think they sent me the link to the song. That'd be really cool to check out.
Okay.
Then we have Derek's version. Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about Derek's version as well.
Excellent.
RPG Master, the meme. Skyro saying that's the meme. So yeah, I think every map is a Headland variant. That is a meme. What do you think about that every map is a Headland variant?
I mean, I feel honored. That's great.
But do you think it is? Like you set the basis for like what a good balanced map was?
Yeah, I mean, if people are taking all that inspiration from this map, then I did my job.
I think you did your job exceedingly well. And Sparky's saying Frog is never built, I believe, mainly more golems. Yeah, that's the problem. And Barbuchet, said Sparky.
Yeah, I don't know the status of the frog as a unit in Wargroove right now.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if there are a lot of like naval maps or mixed naval. I don't know if people are doing that sort of thing.
I don't know. I don't think there's many, at least not for the latter maps. They tend to be pretty standard. I would love to see mixed naval maps. That'd be great. I love everything mixed. But yeah, I don't think we have.
Yeah, it's really fun when you can manage to like mix in all of the elements that are available to you on a map. That's kind of what I tried to do with Maximum Carnage. It's like, can I just fit all of the stuff in here and just have like literally that's why I called it Maximum Carnage. Like, I just put all of the chaos into one map.
And I think, yeah, you did that and more with that map. I love that map. And Master saying frogs can be ballooned, nor someone said you couldn't wagon them either. So yeah, I think that's one of the main problems Frog has right now.
Wait, frogs can't go in wagons?
I think I saw that. Yeah, Sparky said you can't balloon or wagon frogs.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I'm sure that's a balanced decision because, just like flavor-wise, that makes no sense because it's a frog.
But it'd be really cool to see frogs being wagon, and I think that make them more viable, or at least more common to see.
Yeah, because they're kind of slow. They're really slow on land, and you otherwise you have to, make rivers for them, which slows down other units, and then you just have this really difficult map balancing problem.
Yeah. And talking about balance, I think Saikoya's next question would fit very nicely here. Do you feel more positive or negative when one of your maps get in one or more tournaments and gets over optimized or broken?
I think this just comes with the territory, and you have to be able to stomach that sort of thing as a map maker. It's gonna come back to you. Someone's gonna break it. You're gonna have to change something. There's no choice there. You can't make a map and expect it to be absolutely perfect from the very first version that you made. It's not gonna happen.
Absolutely. Either you are going to find something wrong with it, someone else is going to find something wrong with it, the meta's going to change, unit composition is going to change. There's a lot of elements that are not in your control. You
Yeah,
have to take into
and you
account.
need yeah, and you just need to not feel bad about that when it happens because it's just gonna happen. Um,
Absolutely. I
you just
think
have
it's.
Yeah, you just have to be okay with the fact that people are going to come back to you, be like, "Hey, this needs to be changed," and it's never personal. So like, don't take it personally. It's just like we're just trying to make it better. That's all we're trying to do.
That's a great tip for map makers in general. Yeah, exactly. It's not about taking it personal or seeing it as you failing as a map maker. I think people taking the time to look at your map, play on it, is already means you succeeded as a map maker, and them giving you their take of the information on how to make it better. I personally, I take it as a compliment. Like they are spending time they could be using for something else into making your map better. I think that's great. I
Right,
see it.
and
I see it
people,
like that.
yeah, and people wouldn't come back to you with changes if they didn't want to see it improved. If they didn't care about the map, they wouldn't tell you anything. They're just like, okay, I'm just gonna leave this and just let it die.
Exactly, they wouldn't care about it. That's it. So I think it's a good thing all around. Um, any other burning questions you have for Fadedsun chat? Let me ask you another one in the meantime. I think, yeah, let me go with this one. What is your favorite part about making maps? Like the one thing
I,
that you like the most about making maps?
my favorite part about making maps is just the overall process of it. It's very cathartic to me. I feel good when I'm doing it. It relaxes me. And I mentioned before, I just like the creative process of it, just the creative outlet that I get from it. Finally when you do finish a map, you just feel good about it.
Oh yeah,
You put all your creative energy into something.
yeah. I agree. It's at least in my experience, it's like you spend a lot of time. You stay concentrated on one thing, and when you finish it and you see people playing on it, it's so
Yeah, it
rewarding.
feels good. It feels good. And
Yeah,
especially when you get positive feedback about it, you feel really good about that.
and even if you get negative feedback, I think this is my experience, I still feel good about it because I say like someone took the time to play the map and actually rant about it. So
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like I know we're talking about Headland, but one of my maps that I still feel just like so good and proud about is Life in 19 by 19, the
I
first
love
map I
that
ever
map.
made. It was the very first map I submitted to the Wargroove server. It's probably still like one of my most popular maps,
Hmm.
and it's like the very first one that I made, and it still kind of blows my mind.
I didn't know it was one of
But
the first ones. Did you said the first one you made or one of the first ones you made?
um, basically the first one that I made.
That's
Yeah.
so cool. I think that's my favorite. We have to talk about this specific map on another occasion, but I think it's my favorite format, or it became like a format like the Headland meme. I think it could also
It
apply
did,
to the
yeah.
live meme.
Yeah, there's all these different versions of it that I see. Like I know Fly Sniper makes all these different versions of 19 by 19. And I think that's great.
That's amazing. Yeah, we have to talk about that map. I'm working on a mixed base 19 by 19, and
I saw that. That looked really interesting.
yeah, it's a mess, but I'll do my best to fix it. But
I'm sure I'm sure you can find you can find a way to make it work. It can
I hope
happen.
so. I hope so. Thank you for believing in me. Why don't we talk about the other variants real quick? This is a Headland to Deadline remix by Derek, or RPG Master. What do you think about it? And this is a very Derek map. You can see his style all over. You take a look at a map and you say, "Oh, this is Derek's."
Yeah, yeah. He is very he loves his decorations. I'll say that.
Yeah.
I don't know how this map plays.
Well, what I see in his maps is that they tend to be more like maybe brawly, and he loves including what you were saying, like high defense and low defense tiles next to each other. Like here we have a beach and a mountain on the left.
Oh right, yeah.
And I see that, or I feel that makes the map more volatile, but in an interesting way. What do you think about it, or am I crazy here?
No, I think you're pretty spot on with being kind of volatile with all those different weaker tiles around for units to just immediately die on. He also added the watchtower. I see a watchtower.
Oh yeah, like a healing station.
There's some other crazy stuff going on. There are two hideouts.
Two hideouts and they're divided by a wall.
Right? Yeah. Like I don't know how many people played on this map or not, but I'm sure it'd be kind of crazy.
I played it once with him and it was really cool and strange. And I played with him just as I was getting into the game. And I remember liking it very much. And then I never saw it again. I played a couple of times, and yeah, it feels like lanes are very well defined, but and movement feels very slow. You have to make progress very slowly compared to other maps.
Yeah, there's a lot of terrain here. I know he's remixed quite a lot of my maps. I've seen a bunch of them before. I think he's done 19 by 19. Yeah, we have Headland here. I've seen other ones as well. Cause I remember he reached out to me asking me if he could do this for my maps, and I'm like, yeah, go for it.
What do you feel about that? What do you think about? Do you think we should ask for permission to remix maps or make new map versions?
It's a strange question because over time, eventually, certain map makers will just leave the community, and you might not be able to get a hold of them at all. So permission in that case just kind of goes out the window. It's like if you can't contact them, then what's the point? You might as well just make the map.
Yeah, I feel that. Personally, I feel that's like a very good compliment someone would give you, like to make a new version of your own map. Of course, I'm not talking about them taking credit or stealing your map from you, but making it like that, like saying this is a new version, this is a remake of this other map. I think that'd be great, and yeah,
yeah, like and even if the map maker's gone, like you said, just giving credit. Even if the map maker's not there anymore, just say like, hey, this was made by this person, and now I'm just making my own version.
Absolutely. Barrett says, I think so. Long as you credit them in the map description, then it's fine. Asking permission should be mandatory, says Mastro, but it is a nice gesture. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's that'd be a very nice thing.
I mean, you can always reach out, and if you don't get a response, they're probably gone from the community, and there's not much you can do at that point.
Definitely. What do you think? Let's take a look at Sedge's. No, wait. What is the difference between these two? Yeah, this is.
I think that's just a port.
And Sedge's port. What is
it? Looks like yeah, that looks like a port with the additional map borders that Wargroove 2 added.
Yeah, but it's basically the same one, right?
Yeah, I think that's a straight port.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And let me see if I have more questions from people who sent them. No, I think we went through all of them. So let me ask you, let's start wrapping this up before we go into the gameplay stage. Do you remember what was the best or worst maps you ever had on this map?
You mean a match?
Yeah, sorry, did I say map? No, I meant a match. The best or worst match you ever had on this map?
Oh man, I can't remember. It's been so long since I played a competitive Wargroove match. I feel like any memory I have of playing on this map would probably be some sort of map test against someone, maybe Barrett or Exmo or Psychoia or maybe Shu, maybe even Zeronix, I don't know. Um, but I'm sure whatever happened, I'm sure I lost.
All right. So this is
I,
a question
uh,
what, sorry?
oh, go ahead. Yeah, you can ask the question.
Thank you. This is a question I want to ask all map makers that come to the show. What is one thing that only you know about this map? And I think maybe the song thing was already one of them. Is there another one?
Definitely the song thing, the song inspiration. I don't think anyone would ever find that. I think even if you Googled it, it probably wouldn't even come up. Um, let's see what else do. Maybe the other thing was the fact that I took inspiration from the Advanced Wars by Web map from Walker. I don't know if
Mhm.
many people know that, and it's probably only mentioned in the OG notes. I think I only mentioned it there in the notes when I uploaded the map that like hey, this map is from Walker. It was originally called this in Advanced Wars by Web. But I would have to find that map in the database again to find out which map specifically it was because I can't remember.
That'd be really cool to see the original Advance Wars map and then compare it to Headland and the new versions. That would be really interesting as a very cool
Yeah,
exercise as a map maker.
yeah, I'm gonna look for that, and if I can find, I'm gonna send that to you because I think that's interesting as well. Some
Please do that.
history tidbit.
I would love that. Yeah. And last question: what is the future of Headland in your opinion?
The future of Headland. Well, I just hope to see it continue on, and people keep playing on it competitively in tournaments. I think as long as the map plays well, it will never die.
I hope. Yeah, absolutely. I hope it never dies. It's probably the most beloved map. Everyone says they love playing it. It's very fun to watch. It feels balanced. As Mastro said, I think he said it very clearly. You play against your opponent, not against the map.
Yeah, I love that.
Cool. Oh, Varad is asking, can we talk about how there was a flagstone tile in the wrong place for over a year and nobody noticed? What's
I
that?
think he does. I think I know what they're talking about. I think there was like a misplaced tile that didn't get fixed for so long because in the original Wargroove we didn't have the editor options that we now have in Wargroove 2, like the auto
Oh, the
astim
rotational symmetry
options.
tool?
Yeah, we didn't have that back then. So if there was a tile that got missed, it would just stay like that
Oh, that's
until someone noticed it.
over a year after it was placed, as Varad says. Oh, that is. I didn't know that. I thought I gave. I took rotational symmetry. Like something we already we always had. I didn't know it was not there at the
No,
beginning.
no. So just imagine in Wargroove, you're making your map and you're sitting there looking at it for like 5 minutes, and just making sure it was perfectly symmetrical. And
Counting
even
tiles
then you
one by
miss,
one.
and even then you might miss something.
Oh yeah. No thanks. I'm glad we have the rod sim tool nowadays.
No, we really begged for that in the Wargroove 2 beta. We're like, we need this.
Disobeyed said no. It was so painful. But yeah, makes sense. All right.
And
So
like, consider this, Marco. Like the dev team, when they're making their maps, did not have the rotational symmetry and auto symmetry tools. Just imagine
that's.
that.
I haven't thought about it, but yeah, how did they make those huge maps and the campaign
Yeah,
maps and all of that without
yeah,
that
yeah,
tool?
yeah. Without those symmetry tools.
Oh, that must have
Like,
been painful to say the least. Well, glad we
yeah,
have
so
that.
I'm just like imagining the dev team. Like, how'd you guys do that? How'd you do that?
I bet they were counting tiles like one by one. All right, time to go for a match. So, anyone in the chat is up to play on Headland? Where is it? This one. I'll post the code here. First come, first served. So, just a
All right,
second.
Marco, I'm gonna have to dip out at this point.
All right. Thank you so much for being here, Fadedsun. It was so fun.
No,
And,
thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun. I loved answering all the questions. I hope people got something out of this, learned a lot about the map. And if anyone has any more questions for me, I'm always open to DMs and yeah.
oh, that'd be great, and it'd be really nice to have you again to talk about another one of your maps.
Yeah, if you want to do 19 by 19 sometime, I would love that because like I said, it's like one of my proudest maps. I love it to death.
Me too. I love it to death, and I love that it's becoming like a format, like a template almost. We can take and make amazing things out of it.
Yeah. Well,
Thank you
thanks
so
thanks for
much.
having me, Marco. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Take care.
All right, take care.
All right, so who would like to hop on? Oh yeah, I was posting the code. Just a second. H37R. Pick someone. Said this evade. See you faded. No time for fight. Oh, thank you for reminding me. Yeah, I forgot to remove the presentation. The Deadland. Headland to Deadland presentation. Just a second. There we go. Can you see the game now? Oh, great. Thank you, Master. All right. Anyone wants to fight? Anyone wants to hop in and talk about the map? Or maybe fight. Yeah, who wants to fight me? Maybe we can fight someone like online. Gotta go, Nadia. Let's see if anyone joins. Let's do this. I think. Oh, we have one. We have someone here. King Leon. 1 through 03. This is in the right version? I thought it was. By the way, chat, what is the standard opening, or the optimal opening, I should say? I'm just gonna onga bonga my way here. Random person. Yeah, I don't recognize this name. What is the standard opening? I would love to, like, have like to make a YouTube short or something like that out of each of the different maps we cover on the show. And I think that'd be really useful for new players as well. See a hill in the village next to the Koya pond. First sword had to capture towards the middle. Oh no. I think I gotta make this short after this. I messed up the opening already. You can also side switch and left sword punish opponent going for side camp. So I heal the village next to Koya Pond. I think I already messed this up. I'm gonna open another lobby after this one. Maybe just like against the AI, and I'll just do the opening so we can capture it on video. Do you think Emrick's gonna let me slap him? You're right, Scar. It would be very weird to do it against the AI. Or what if I make it like I control both players? I don't know. I might have to think about it and do it later. Double bass kick for a harpy. Yeah. I wonder how many people are playing online right now after they did the Xbox Pass thing. I would love to see more people on our Discord and joining competitive. Oh no. Why did you go back? Good. Come on, road. Next to road. What can I do here? I think I'm just gonna charge their HQ and their suffering. sure this. Go over here. Not a good idea. Another dragon for the win. They should have a build match. Yeah, I noticed that too. No. No, he's going in. Why? He's gonna give me a free harpy. Yeah, he gave me a free harpy hit. Talking about walking winning conditions. This over here. Oh, he's got a thief. Let's take our time. Easy does it. Triple dragon does it. Conceded. All right. They have money to be fair. They have no money. Yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap things up. Thank you so much for being here. It was a very fun episode. Fadedsun was so interesting to talk to. I hope he comes back to and do another episode sometime. Also, if you have any suggestions on who should come next to the show, that'd be great. If you want to come to the show, that'd be great. You don't have to be a famous map maker, a legendary map maker like Fadedsun. As long as you like map making in Wargroove 2 and you want to talk about a map, you can. It'd be great to have you at the show. Just do that. Just choose a map you want to talk to and DM me, and it'd be very cool to have you. So that's it for now. Thank you so much, guys. Take care and see you next week with another map.